I love it when we go down some rabbit holes.
You said buttholes?
No, not buttholes, rabbit holes.
Well, really, what's the difference? I mean, you're going in somewhere.
I mean, one hole's one, dirt one. Well, I don't know. They're both dirt, I guess.
They're both dirt.
By the way, viewer discretion advised. This is edited, and I don't know if there's EVPs. Welcome to welcome
To Harlots
Of Spook Talk.
where we go down the rabbit hole.
Not the
Not-
butthole.
Not buttholes. I'm your host, Karli. I like going down some dark holes.
And I'm your host, LD Pteloma. I also like dark holes.
And I'm La Monyeka. I dance under the moon and sometimes have fun in the sun.
Oh, I should have said tree hugger. I'm a tree hugger.
You are a tree hugger.
You are a
we-
tree
no, we're not
hugger.
gonna do it. Today's episode is banter. We are going back from the beginning to tell you what we have done, what we're going to do. We're going to talk about like our favorite hauntings, you know.
Catch up after a whole year with being with y'all.
And this is so sad. I don't think it's been a year, but it feels like
No,
it's been a
close. It feels like it.
year. It's close.
It's close.
So
Very, very
let's.
close.
Should we like tell like the story, kind of do like a catch up real quick then?
We can.
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
should, yeah. Sure.
So we're not going to use any names. That's the rules. No names. Okay.
Nicknames. If that's good.
Nicknames. I like it. You're smart. So we're just gonna. Okay, so from the beginning, it was me in. Well, if you knew the show before, we had it named Spook Talk with MM for like Maria, and it was me and Maria.
Yeah.
And then what, like 3 episodes in, Karli joined the show and we did all the spooky shit, you know. We were learning as we go. I think for me it was like we really for a while were just like into religion, but I think during that time, which is funny because everything that like Monyeka goes through, I went through a lot of the same stuff, you know, like trying to figure out like religious things like paganism and things like that and Christianity and stuff. So we did a lot of like spiritual episodes. We did hauntings for sure. Absolutely did a lot of those. And then we came into like the holidays. So it's like October, November, and then December. Maria took a break and she was like, I want to spend time with my family, which was, I think she was also sick. So it, you know, made perfect sense. And then from there, it was me and Karli. And then, so we did a lot of episodes and then eventually Maria said, I'm not coming back. No drama with it. It was just, this is not for me.
It was a clean break.
Yeah, clean break. And that's fine, to each their own, you know. We worked really hard on this podcast and we enjoy doing it. And Karli, I don't know if you want to talk about your stuff. That's completely up to you.
I had to take a little break for a while because I got a little sick, but I'm back. And in the meantime, like we had fun. It was a lot of growing. We had some growing pains, like any podcast we did. We tried to find what worked for us, and we found out talking about religion all the time wasn't really working for us because we believe in the unity with each other. So we kind of branched off and started going back down the spookiness of it, which is right up my alley. I love it.
Yeah.
And then we introduced La
Monyeka.
and she fit right in with us. So if you want to explain your little, you know what I mean, coming into it and how you felt
for sure.
and your growth.
I definitely came from a very religious background, but I've also had so many like multiple gifts. I think I want to say 7 is what I've counted so far. But spiritually, like I said, me and Miss Pteloma kind of understood each other on that sense of trying to just kind of figure out our gifts in religion at first, and then we go into spirituality. And for me, I feel like it kind of just fell in my lap to just help LD and just hang out a couple times on her cast and get interviews in. And then I was just like, you know, we just all fit well. And I definitely have a lot of experience in everything I've done. I have a lot of studies, and I'm always intrigued on finding more out that we get through together. So it's like it really just seems like we meshed well, and I have tons and tons of experience. So I definitely have some pretty good stories that sometimes I forget that I even unlock when I'm talking to the girls.
You know, it's like, so it's like, you know, La Monyeka, she came in and we had already known each other because me and Karli knew each other. We used to do readings together, like tarot readings and things like that. So we'd known each other for a long time. And then me and La Monyeka knew each other from like over a century ago, like years.
Yeah. We used to go
So,
hang out in cemeteries and drink.
hell yeah. So,
I swear, you collect sensitives and spiritual people like Pokemon. I'm just saying, you
Yeah,
do.
like
You
I
collect
was,
them.
I do. It's true because,
You
like, I
collect them.
cannot. You would not believe. I feel like this was the whole thing. It took me a long time to realize this, but when I did, I was like, you know, I can't have a conversation without bringing ghosts into it. Y'all ever notice that? Like,
it's just
I can't.
normal. It's normal for us. This
I
is our
know.
normal.
No, I was gonna say it's everyday life for us. Like,
I'm like, I don't think I could have a friend and not talk about ghosts. Like, I was saying that one guy for 2 years. It took me like 6 months to talk to him about, oh, yeah, so I can see ghosts, you know, because I was like, this is not weird him out. But that was the longest ever in my life. I went without telling somebody, you know, and that was hard.
it is when it's a big part of your life.
And so I don't know. That's how. And so for a while, I was collecting witches, like, you know,
Yes.
and I've had green witches, eclectic witches, like dark witches, light witches, like black witches, white witches, Mexican witches. Like, sorry, that was not supposed to come
All
off.
cultural witches.
That's what I was
I
waiting for.
definitely
I was
noticed
like,
that the more religion I started to study, like I started to get into the Quran, into like everybody else's beliefs and things like that. She
Mhm.
started to get into more spirituality and crystals and learning in that type of way. And I did notice that she was like magnetizing witches, and I'm just like,
yeah.
you know, we attract what we are sometimes.
The thing about the witches, I just want to say this on here, is it's not really like a bad thing. I think
Yeah,
modern women, like modern times, they're like,
witches were just wisdom, women of wisdom back then. I
yeah,
think now it's such a derogatory word.
it's not like you're going into your room and you're stirring up little children to eat.
Yeah, we ain't making
You know what I
potions
mean?
and eating kids, guys. Like, no.
And
Well, we
we're
are.
When we talk
totally
about witches, we talk about, you know, just being a collective women of understanding. And I guess just, I think what it is that the world has made us look like we're bad. But when it first started, the word was just a woman of wisdom who knew how to use her herbs and resources to heal and things like that, you know. And I think nowadays people have just made it just, you know,
something like
after the Salem trials and things like that, they just really made witches look like we were a weapon when actually we're the healers.
It's kind of like a lifestyle to me, you know, like if you were religious, you would say, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to pray. I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to take a shower, have my coffee, do it, and go about your day. For a witch, like if we're putting titles on stuff,
Yeah.
you would maybe like get up, say a prayer, do whatever it is that your normal routine, have your coffee, because it doesn't matter where you're from, you're going to have coffee most of the time, and go about your day. And then for me, I'm like, I pray throughout the day. Like, maybe I should have been a Catholic, to be honest with you, but I do pray throughout the day. And it's like, I'm not trying to make this a religious post. I'm just saying it's a lifestyle, just like Christianity might be a lifestyle, which, I mean, you're planting stuff, you're with the earth. Native Americans, again, with the earth. To me, it's like hard to say, like, I'm pagan or I'm.
It's hard to have a what is the word, like to subscribe to a label, right? Yeah, a title. There you go.
But the truth is, at the end of the day, I'm praying to who I'm praying to, and you know,
to me, as long as you have love in your heart, you're not harming others. It shouldn't matter what each.
To me, it's a little bit more.
I don't think it should matter the way you go about it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If all the intention comes from love, at the end of the day, that's what we were created to be: human beings who love and get along with each other.
And
like even I mean it goes back down to the natives too. You know, they say the same thing.
And that's true. Like I agree with all that. I feel like it's just a little bit more than that. You know, for me, I'm like when I go outside, I'm like trying to connect with the earth, and I'm like grounding myself. I'm talking to the trees. I'm talking to the plants. I'm talking to the freaking worms that like, why are you in here? Like today, I caught like 4 different bugs in my garden today, and I'm like, y'all can't be here. Be gone. You know, but like for somebody else that might like be weird, you know what I mean? So I'm like, you're really just connecting. It's what you're connecting with, who you're talking to, you know. But you know, to each their own. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think a lot of people see natives too as just native people, but when you get into like, because I'm native, when you get into the old learnings of it, they worship the moon, they worship the sun, they understood that life gets put back into the earth, and I think the words, everything's just worded differently in different ways. You know, we have, you know, we make coffee in the morning. A Christian can make coffee and pray. Okay, fine. But then if a witch makes it, sometimes she's making a potion and praying. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of the things that we do are really familiar. We just word it differently.
Exactly.
And
Separate.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay, I was gonna say, and we also got to remember, with darkness, there is always light too. There's always light and darkness, and without darkness, there is no light.
You don't know light.
So
yeah,
that's I might go into a little darkness with my belief systems and stuff, because I don't go by one belief system. I go by quite a few. And everybody's like, "Oh, you do what?" I'm like, "You don't understand. Don't judge like until you know." Like there is always love somewhere there.
So like Karli's like really into the history of stuff, you know, like she's which actually works out for the show because I'm like, I was never a history buff. So I'm like, okay, it wasn't until Karli came along that I'm like, oh, I should like dig into this a little bit more. This sounds pretty interesting. And the way she tells stories sometimes I'm like, oh my God, they did what? You know, and I'm like, golly, and it's like, you know, Monyeka, she like talks really fast, but it always comes out really smooth. I don't know if y'all know that. Like when we're on a live or something, she'll be like, okay, but I gotta tell you, but she'll talk really fast, but it's like not too fast.
Smooth.
She'll give it like so many little details, you know what I mean? Like there's so many good little details, and you're like, so at that point when she's telling the story, you can like really see it. You know what I mean? And then like it's like, y'all are so good. It's like awesome. And then I'm like, squirrel.
But you are our planner.
It all works out for our viewers, so that's good.
You are our scheduler, our planner. You keep you're the glue.
You keep
without you
in line.
Yeah, I was gonna say, without you, we would be all over the place. Let's be honest.
Talk about squirrels. Our intro today. This was like, I'm like, we used to joke around on the show. You know, we'd be like, Karli and Maria were like the ADHDers. You know what I mean? Like they were just like, boom, 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 boom. And then there's me. I'm like, okay, but I have 2 calendars. I need to put this on. Can I please put it on both calendars? And then they would switch it. Like every once in a while, a certain person would switch it, and I'd be like, but I put it on my calendar.
So you are our glue to keep us in line.
I'm like,
you really are.
I definitely follow the lead of you in everything. I literally call Miss Mary some days and like, what are we talking about today? What time are going on? And I have the schedule, but I need to hear it from her.
Sometimes
that's why we work. That's why we work as a team.
I love the one-on-one time, and I love the meetings because we can catch up, like what's going on in your life, who did what. You know,
we live so far away from each other too. Like we're not
our time
neighbors.
difference is so crazy too, guys. So like our time difference is really different.
Yeah, it's like she'll go on at like 8, 7, 6, you know, and then sometimes we'll get somebody on like the East Coast that's like a 5, you know, it's so crazy.
It is. And people don't realize that, I don't think. They don't realize we're not all in the same time zone at all.
We're not sitting over together or anything,
No.
Yeah, so we like, we're with all three of us, and it works really well. Everything meshes well. We've had a lot of really good episodes. There's been episodes that we've redone, and we kind of like, we have the originals. We haven't taken down the originals because that was the idea of keeping the originals was, you know, that's where we started. That was our foundation. But now we're kind of moving in with like a lot more viewers. We went from like back then, what was it, like 3 viewers to like 12.6 or 12.2. I think we're at 12.2 or 12.1. And
with all with the other platforms, depending
with like
what they're watching on,
we have the TikTok, we have you know, we do the Stitch, and everybody, like, it's been crazy. It's been a really good journey.
Crazy ride. And it's weird because we are so far apart, and it's like the universe brought us together at the right moment, at the right time to do this, like in our lives. It's kind of weird, you know what I mean?
And so like in September we're gonna get together. We're gonna get a lot of footage in Louisiana, and I'm really excited for that one. I'm like, listen, we are all sharing a hotel room because my spook scared ass is not sleeping by myself. As soon as something touches me, I'm out. Like, I don't know what it is like lately. Like,
and when we're down there, I want to look at houses.
Oh yeah. And then we'll just get like a bunch of land. You know, we'll Airbnb this house. We'll get some land. We'll just put our houses on
a compound.
Yeah.
Okay, only thing I ask, I want some ostriches.
Well, they can stay on your side. I'll have
the
zebras. I'll keep the zebras. You keep the ostriches.
I do. I always wanted them. I don't know why.
So they used to have this place in like Central Texas, like a little drive-through zoo, and it seemed like I was going like with the kids like once or twice a month, and oh my gosh, we loved it. And like I really got to know the zebras a little bit more, like a weirdo, because they're so nice, and they're like, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like whatever her name was, it was like Cindy or I don't know. Oh well, I made up the name. It wasn't really. Anyways, we'll say Cindy. It's like, she'll be like, oh hey girl, and I'm like, hey, here's the bag.
Throw it at them.
Oh, they were like gentle horses, and I realized that not all of them are like that. They have to be tamed, but just like that.
I love that. It's like you became their regular.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like,
hey, it's our friend Mary.
Yeah, so I'm like, really, is zebras my spirit animal?
It could be.
Maybe. But I'd like to think it was a moose. So it's just crazy. So we are planning on getting together in September, which is awesome, and getting footage for that. And then hopefully we can do it a lot more, you know, as we go, we can do it a lot more. But we also have this summer, we're actually going to haunted places rather than talking about it and doing like one little clip or
venturing out.
Lord help me. Because they ain't gonna be with me. So
I'm hoping for Rolling Hills this summer, live with y'all.
Oh my gosh, I will
That's
have a
what I'm
heart
hoping.
attack. We'll just see her go off the camera, and I'll be like,
I'm going in the morgue. I'm gonna climb in that cooler and lay in that cooler. I will do that. I swear. I'm telling you. Don't care if it's when it is, but I want to do it. That's it. It's on my bucket list.
oh my goodness.
To go back. I liked it. I don't know. See? The weird one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the weird one.
I would say the more brave one.
Yeah. There you go.
If you ever watch my clip, I do go to haunted places with it's on a lot of my TikToks. I went to the haunted St. James. I went to the haunted buildings in Ohio in the middle of the city, which is dangerous. Don't recommend that. I love cities, but that one was a little too dangerous.
If you see anything like haunted on YouTube or TikTok, it's more than likely it's Karli's clips. More than likely, like she'll be like, okay, I got this place, and I'm like, oh yeah, send me videos. Slap it on there.
But we're all going to do that this summer. We're all going to pick some locations, even if it's the cemeteries around us, and go explore and see what we catch. Just for you guys, just for the audience.
Yeah, I've been getting the haunted stories from the locals here to figure out which one they like hear the most activity at, or the one most feared here. And then I'm 45 minutes away from Roswell. So I've been thinking about going to Roswell as well, because
you got to. You got it.
We kind of dabble here in between the line of ghosts and aliens. So like I'll take either one. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's where you're brave, because I'm like, if something comes out of that water or I see a spaceship, I'm out. I'm under my bed, like cradling. Like, no, I don't do the alien thing.
Coming from Texas, I think one of the things that I thought was the weirdest was that there's so many abandoned houses here. And when I say abandoned, like you don't know they're abandoned because you don't live here. But once you live here, you'll start to see that there's houses that look like people live in them, but nobody ever comes out. The car stays parked. And this is normal to people here. Coming from somebody from Texas, like I'm from Austin, Texas. I'm from the city, but like there's just so much activity going on. You don't really notice. I mean, you still would notice, if people weren't there. But here, it's a smaller town, and Roswell is not as big as people think it is. It's literally a pretty like medium small town compared to a big city, And when I lived here in the small town, not too far from it, I started to notice abandoned houses with cars there. And I was like, hey, I asked one of the girls from the church that I go to, I was like, hey, is it normal for some of these houses just to be looked like they're living in and not? She goes, oh yeah, that happens a lot here. But the way they talk about it is like, oh, it's oil field. I don't know anybody in the oil field who leaves their car there for years at a time just to rust. Right. Brand new cars, old cars. Like some of these cars are mid, some of them are brand new. Like I mean, for me, I would think, considering that we are next to Roswell, New Mexico, that there's abandoned houses for that reason of being abducted, because it looks like a family may have lived there and then all disappeared one day. That's what I mean when I say abandoned houses. I don't mean like the normal abandoned houses.
You live by haunted Route 66 too in Roswell, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get footage of that, and the alien diner in Roswell.
Yeah,
I want
you know what?
That's so bad. I do.
Yes, and I think it's going to be exciting. Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
And then you up there got a haunted Midlands.
Haunted what?
Like the Midlands right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a castle, and actually, to be honest with you, I really just want to dress up in a big goofy dress and just run around it and not get EVPs, but I'm going to do my best.
Not getting them. We want the EVPs. We want the EVPs.
Well, we can do the EVPs, and I can run around and dress up and be like, I'm also a ghost. Are you still there? I'm just kidding.
Only us. But we are going to bring that all live to our audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're going to share everything.
I think we're doing 2 each, right? So that's like 6 episodes, and that's perfect for the summer. And then we're going to go into Halloween, right? So then we could do some haunted tours. I think for me, I'll do the haunted tours. The problem with haunted tours, I don't know if y'all have this problem, but when they tell a story, like they're kind of like intense, and I'm like, okay, so I went to this haunted cave, and for some reason, every time I go on vacation, I end up in a haunted cave or a cave. I don't know. And I don't know why I'm going. So, like, long story short, he was like really in Colorado. He was just like telling these intense stories, and I started to like believe him. And I don't know if he was lying. That's the problem. I talked to him, the tour guide, afterwards. I'm like, are you being honest? Like, because you really haven't spoken. At one point, he was talking about a story where these 2 little boys, 2 kids, I just remember, I think it was 2 boys, and he was telling a story, and he told me, stand in this dark piece, like now, like it's dark. And I was like, no, you are absolutely out your fucking mind, because I am not the one. I'm a scary cat, And he was like, and then every time I kind of try to like shimmy a little, like a look, so I was like this, and I was talking out loud to myself. I was like, it's okay. I know Jesus. I got God. We're fine. Out loud while he's telling a ghost story. And I'm like, way out of my element. I was like, no, it's fine because I know Jesus and I rebuke that. And he looks at me and he goes, there is no God here. And I'm like, oh. I was like, you're a lie, devil, you're a lie. And he was like, but I'm standing right there. And right before he said it, he was talking about these little boys. I'm like, I know there's something behind me. I just know it. And I was just freaking out. There's just nothing but black space. And I'm like, freaking out. And see, I'm already freaking out just telling you. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I just know something's like over here. I can feel it. All of a sudden, I feel a child's hand touch my back. And I go like this. I go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he was like, and then sometimes people feel them touching them. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Because every time I get like, I don't know, scared or surprised, I just, how people be like, oh my. No, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
She gets serious.
Oh, great. She's going to be telling us to shut the F up down in Louisiana the whole time.
When those little light bulbs came on yesterday, I was like, shut the fuck up.
She's going to do that to us. We're going to be laughing. She's going to be like, no, not funny. Not funny. It touched me. It was you, not us.
I'm like, put my eyelashes on when we're out there. So I'll be like, ghosts ain't going to touch my eyeballs. Like, we ain't doing it. We'll flutter them away.
Right.
But so that's what's coming up, and that is kind of like, hopefully. Okay, so I have a game for you before we get ready to go. Okay, just for everybody to kind of get to know us a little bit. What is 2 truths and a lie? And we have to guess. We'll go one at a time.
Personal
I'll go first. As personal as we get here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Okay. I brought somebody back to life. I have talked to cats, and I speak to the moon.
Well, I could see the moon and talking to cats.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say it because I was like, okay, I want to say the live thing, but also this is my thought process. She has licked eyeballs, and like they have all of a sudden been able to see. That's where the eyeball came from. If y'all didn't know, if you know me personally, I'd be like, I'm gonna lick your eyeball, and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, nothing. And I don't know, but I see you talking to the moon. I could see you talking to moon and cats.
I say talking to the moon is a lie. The other 2 are the truth.
I don't know. She's a moon child, though.
I know, but
I know.
She has a cat, so she talks.
This is the crazy thing. You guys are gonna freak out when I tell you which one's the lie.
Don't say it's the one. Go ahead, tell us the lie, because
the cat. Okay, so I had a cat for years, and I never spoke to her. I just kind of threw language out there to her. And I never like Mary can have conversations. I can have conversations with animals, but when I first got my cat, I'd never had a cat in my house. My cat ended up dying right before I went to go pick her up from my daughter in Austin when we moved over here, because during the move, we moved this way. And then I was going to go back and get her, and she died at my daughter's house. She was just an old cat. But I never actually had a conversation with her. I remember having the ability to speak to animals, but why I never talked to her, I never thought about it. Like, one-on-one. I did bring back my dad 4 times with my kids. My dad was really bad diabetic, and then he got better, but then he was having issues, and he flatlined a couple times. And when me and my kids made it to the hospital, we brought him back. Like, everybody still calls it a miracle. Doctors wanted to know, nurses were asking questions, and I just left as soon as everything happened. Like, I was like, my kids cannot be a product of government experiments, so we left, But we did bring my dad back 4 times. The last time he kind of probed me aside, and he was like, look, I know you know what you're doing, but next time I need you to just let me go.
Oh.
And I was like, that's the hardest thing I ever heard in my life. And then the last time he died, we didn't even try. We were like, this is what he asked for. This is what we're going to give him. We're going to give him the peace about it. So I did bring my dad back to life. I did have a cat, Mary. I did have a cat. And you know, when people have pets and we talk to our pets just because we talk to them, I did that type of conversation, but I never paid attention to what she said. Now that she's already passed away, now I speak to animals, like actually having conversations now, like if I have conversations with the spirits. But I never really actually had a conversation with the cat. So yeah, I do have the ability, but I never used it. So I can't really say that I talk to cats. The moon and me we're girls.
Yeah,
We're
so I
like
was
me and
like,
you
I
guys.
consider
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm talking to the cat. But I mean, for me, I would talk to a cat. I was just literally just
Now I'm in love with animals like you. Like I talk to them all the time. But before, I guess I had my cat for like 7 years and never actually had a conversation. I would just be like, "Kitty, go outside." I would just demand as an owner. I wish now I would have talked to her though, because now that I know that I have the ability, and I just never used it. I kind of feel like I wasted time with her. But that bitch knew me.
oh, oh man, I have a well, I'll tell y'all later, but I have one. Well, it's not really mine, but she will be mine. I'm working on her. I'll keep y'all updated. She was like walking down this sidewalk over here when I was planting in the front of my house, and I've seen her like laying out in the yard. And every time I'm like, "Hey, girl, hey," and she'll be like looking at me like, "This is my yard," and I'm like, I paid for this yard, so you need to pay me rent. And anyway, she was walking on the sidewalk right in front of the house, and I was doing my little planting my little black golf garden, whatever. And I seen her walking. She's kind of like looking, and she's like, "What is that?" Like a head, not even paying attention to me. And I go, and she looks at me so quick, like, "Bitch, where'd you come from?" And I was like, "Girl," like I imagine that's how she probably talks. And she was like, and I was like, "You can come here, you can hang out. You are allowed to be in this yard. Would you like to help me plant? Do you want some tuna?" And she's like, "This bitch crazy," And I'm like, "I can get you some tuna if you want to come inside. Like what? And I'm just and don't mind the bar across from my street, like people watching me talk to this cat like a psychopath. The stories, I can't imagine what they say. I know they talk shit about me in that bar, but now I'm like, yeah, I'm giving them fuel.
There you go.
And so I'm like, and this cat was like, I was like, "You don't have to go. You could do your own thing." And I was like, "Okay, fine. You don't want to talk to me. Have a good day." And then I went back to Karli, and I was kind of like, she'll be mine one day as I'm planting seeds. So anyway, sorry. So Karli, what is your truth and a lie?
Okay, first one would be I told my ex the day before his grandfather died that he was going to pass away. I seen the other side, and I am a Wiccan.
Where? Okay, are you? No,
I'm gonna go with seeing the. Was it your grandpa you said? Or who is it?
No, first one is I told my ex the day before his grandfather passed he was going to pass. The second
Okay.
one was I seen the other side for a little bit. And the third one is I am a Wiccan.
I thought you were.
I'm gonna go with the first
Maybe like because you said that you were Wiccan, I thought, but I've been getting things crossed, and I was like, but we had a whole conversation about Wiccans, and I was like, there's never been a Wiccan to like me at all. I don't know what that is up with that.
one.
I'm gonna go with the Wiccan thing. Also, you did a weird thing with your eyes, so now I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, people classify me as a Wiccan. I'm not a Wiccan. That's just
Okay.
what I classify because that's what everybody knows it as.
Yeah.
I'm not. I study all religions. I practice a lot of religions, and I believe into a lot of religions. I take from each religion what I believe to be so, and throw the rest back, if that makes sense. What feels right to me.
For sure.
I just classify myself as Wiccan because it's easier not getting into the conversation of multi warships, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I did see the other side for a little. What I seen was just darkness for me. The first one was I did tell my ex his grandfather was going to die the night before, he passed. I told him to go see him, and he went to see him the next day. Because
I wasn't sure about the Wiccan. That's why I didn't know. I was like, well, I know that she has her own way of doing things. So I just wasn't sure if he took the label or not. So I was like,
yeah, I don't take the label. I do for people so they are not like confused.
Just a quick conversation. Yeah,
and it is classified as a Wiccan, but I don't label that because I don't only
you don't
do
label yourself.
Yeah, I don't do just Wiccan things. I do blood rituals. I do so many different type of rituals, and I still pray.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say. And I'm reading the newest book of the one they just found. I forget what it's called now. I'm so tired. Sorry, guys. But it's the book right before the Bible. It's a Bible, but it's like 300 and some books to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm still looking, type of thing.
Yeah.
But
all right,
yeah.
Okay. Let me see.
Yeah, it's harder than you thought, right?
I know. I was just thinking about it, and I had it, and I forgot. Okay, so I have touched a dead body. I have heard someone die on the phone, and I believe that just about everything breathes, and I talk to everything that I think breathes.
I don't think you touched a dead body.
Yeah. I don't think you heard somebody die on the phone. It's one of those. You do believe everything breathes. It talks to everything.
I know you are one with everything that breathes.
Yeah. I should have been Pocahontas, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
So it got to be one of the first two.
Let's see.
Okay, so I've never touched a dead body.
Yes. I knew it.
I was like, my mom, I don't know why I was thinking about this. My mom, when my grandfather passed away, like there's a whole story behind like the night before with this boogeyman incident, but that's a whole thing. So when he passed away, the next morning, my mom was like, "Yeah, you can touch him, you know, just," and she kind of touches his toe with her toe, and I had a fucking heart attack. I was like, "Oh." So yeah, no dead bodies and like, but you know, especially after like live where that guy was talking about there was a worm and that body's
the eye, the maggot.
Really weird, yeah.
The maggot. I like that one. Oh, that was pretty cool.
But you know what he said about the body taking a breath like that?
Mm-hmm.
When my dad passed away in the hospital, like people were still going in the back to see him, and I made it there an hour late. So I already knew that he was gonna, like, we weren't gonna bring him back. We were an hour away. I was like, you know, I prepared my kids. I was like, yo, Grandpa passed away. He's not coming back this time. He asked us not to bring him back, so we're gonna go and pay our respects with our family, and so be respectful, because my dad's family's kind of, you know, just a little judgmental sometimes. So when we get there, they escort me to the back to go see him, and they leave me alone for a second. And I'm just like, come on, let me get him back, you know. But I mean, I'm eating my own dad's words, so I'm like, this is what he wanted. So I sat in the chair for a second next to his, like, so his bed was like this, and there was a chair on the opposite side of the room, like towards by his feet. And I just sat there the whole time while all the family members came in to, you know, just see him, I guess. And when my Uncle John came in, he's a studying minister. He was like, wake up, Raymond, wake up. And I'm like, I didn't say nothing, but I allowed him to be there. And I'm just like, oh my God, my dad did not want to wake up, because he has, I've never seen him bring anybody back, but he studies a lot, you know, like me. So I'm like, oh my God, please don't let him bring it back. My dad's going to be so mad at me, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, and that's his brother, that's his younger brother. So he just naturally was doing what his Christian side brought out of him, you know? And he was like, just, and having a conversation with my dad, like if he was still awake, you know? And I'm just sitting there watching, just kind of being respectful and just kind of like, oh, God, please don't let him come back if my dad's gonna be mad at me, you know. And these are the thoughts that I'm having in my head while my uncle's trying to wake him up, right? And then my uncle walks out, and then all of a sudden my dad goes, and that was it. So when that guy said that he heard that voice or that breath, I remember my dad was deceased for almost 4 hours.
And he did the breath.
And then he did the breath, yeah. And so this is where it goes into spirituality, where you start to think, like, you know, you start to think about medical science not even hitting this, because when the guy says that the doctors medically told him that's not possible, that something was wrong with his brain that he saw, he just didn't see it. I saw it. I didn't see it as scary as he did because he was so up close, but I saw it, I heard it. Anybody could hear a breath, especially when you take it like if you're sighing.
Science cannot explain death, like where we go, what happens when we die. They cannot. They can explain what happens to the body, but not physically, but spiritual. They can't explain it. They can keep trying. I love to read those. Like, oh, we found this and this. I'm like, how? Physically, how did you do that? Through science. And I love science. I'm like, you can't do that.
Yeah, me too. I like medical science. That's probably my favorite thing ever. That and the anatomy of the body, you know.
But death is a mystery that we are not supposed to know. Once we know, it's too late for us. So we don't want to know that until, like, most of us search about life after death and death after life. But what we fully don't understand is we don't want to know what's out there after death. It's not meant for us to know yet. We're meant to live. You know,
like I'd like to know. My favorite thing to like research is like people that pass and then come back to life. Like I don't know why, that's my favorite subject. You won't really
I love that one.
Seeing like true crime, but I like people that are attacked by animals.
Life after death and coming back.
I want to know what made that animal tick. Okay, I don't know what it is, but so when I say I'm I never thought I was superstitious, but then last year
we're all superstitious in our own ways.
In our own ways, of course.
Like I still throw salt over my shoulders.
Yeah. I mean, you remember we had an episode where we talked about in the beginning, we talked about superstitions, and I was like, I don't really have any superstitions. But the thing is, I have a lot, and they don't make any sense. Like they do, but they don't. Like if you remember when you were a kid and like you would pass by a graveyard, and they'd be like, hold your breath. I still to this day feel like
I never heard that.
Yeah, if you drive past the cemetery, hold your breath. But now, as an adult, when I drive,
why are we holding our breath? Though, do we know why we're holding our breath?
To me, in my head, and this may not make sense, but I have convinced myself if I breathe while I'm passing that cemetery, I'm going to breathe in death.
I never thought about it like that. Okay, so like Catholics, guys, I'm big Catholic since I was a kid. Catholic families in Mexico, so most Mexican families usually are Catholic. A lot, like a good 78% of them. Yeah. Anytime they go by the cemetery, you'll see this. You'll see your parents driving, and you'll see this.
Yes.
Exactly.
You'll see the cross being done as a blessing. So that I guess when I asked my mom, she said it's more like a protection from death. Like, death can't catch you almost. And I was just like, oh.
You know what? I do that sometimes. Now maybe I can try and like breathe, but just do the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And see,
I never heard that about holding your breath because I've been around some cemeteries that are pretty long. So, I don't know if I could have held my breath.
It's crazy is Karli and Monyeka, they both were raised Catholics. I was like, you wouldn't expect it from Karli, So it's always crazy, but it's cool.
I was never baptized though. My dad let me have that choice. My sister took it. I did not. I chose to wait until I'm ready, and my church allowed it. So
Monica used to say back in the day, and Monica always has wisdom. Like shit she tells me, it just sticks in the back of my head. But it was like, if you go, she told me when I was married, you said, well, if you go to a Catholic church, you'll learn how to pray. And so that's what I tell people now. I'm like, well, if you go to a Catholic church, you'll at least learn how to pray at the Catholic church. Because it's true. They get up, they get down, they pray.
And I still say that because I grew up with my foundation in the Catholic church. And I think had I not grown up with that strong foundation of learning how to pray, and this is the thing, Catholics teach you how to do things quietly, stern, and precise. Like if you want to cut a damn cake as sharp as you can, you in spirit go to that Catholic church. Some of the strongest minded people have to be in that Catholic church because it's so persistent. And so growing up with that foundation, I don't think I ever would have made it having 5 kids and all these gifts if I didn't have that foundation of prayer. Because when push came to shove and I was in my most scariest moments growing in my gifts, the prayers that I had that were straight from the Bible that they put in me when I was a kid is what came out of me when I was in my most scariest moments. And I think that's kind of like what really got me through a lot of the crazy things that people would have gone crazy for.
And for me, I know Catholic school helped a lot through my teenage
Mm-hmm.
years before I left. Like I left the house when I was 16. But
Mm-hmm.
because me and my dad, we didn't see eye to eye. But growing up, it taught me a lot. It did. And it taught me like not all sin sin can be forgiven as long as our intentions are good with our prayer and everything. So it taught me also, believe it or not, and this is kind of contradicting, but it taught me, I know my church taught me not to judge upon others unless I walk a mile in their shoes.
Yeah,
And
that's
everybody's
what
like, oh, the Catholic Church don't teach that. Yes, it does. You just got to listen and start reading between the lines. They're not telling you hate that believer.
whether Catholics listen to that is,
It's
it's
a
the same
different
thing with
story.
all church, like they tell us that in like a Southern Baptist church, they say, do not judge unless you plan like you want to be judged. You don't judge your neighbor, love your neighbor.
And I married a Lutheran, so religion is still in my house. My
Yeah, for
son
sure.
is religious, but now my daughter is more, she believes in something else. She prays like 3 times a day, just to a different God, which is
Yeah.
fine. As long as you have prayer. I always tell my kids, as long as you're praying to somebody, please. As long as you have guidance, I'm happy.
I've
Just
definitely
something.
jumped into so many different churches, and I feel like everybody still has one God. They have different beliefs on Jesus, and for me, I just chose what I chose, and it doesn't matter what church I go to because of discernment. As long as I tell my kids, as long as you have discernment and you're able to hear what you would either consider the higher power or the main God, you're okay. And prayer is very important. And one thing I know that my older 2 kids did grow up with me in the Catholic Church because I was so very young, still going to Catholic Church with my kids, with my parents. And then my 3 younger kids, my middle child, my 3 younger kids wound up in the Christian church a lot with me, where they were more free to be not so quiet, And so I think it worked out well. I think it worked out. And then, like I said, I've studied different religions, Quran and the
I got the
Mormon.
new
I've
one I'm
studied
studying.
everything.
Akhnid. I'm studying the book of Akhnid. That's the new book I'm on. It's a lot of books to it, but it's interesting. I'm learning a lot through it, so I'm not saying I'm practicing, guys, so nobody comes after me. I'm reading
No,
up
when we
on it. I
study,
want to
we're
know.
learning. Yeah, it's almost like
I
you're
want to
studying a
know.
textbook. Yeah.
Yes,
I do the same
exactly.
because when I tell people that I've read the Mormon book and then I've read the Quran, they kind of look at me and I'm like, hey, I study everything. So yeah.
And like I still have family in the Mennonite church too down in Pennsylvania. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my mom's side. My dad's side's different.
You know what I was thinking right now? How we were talking about how Mary kind of just seems to magnetize witches. I seem to I feel like when I'm when I'm in a new space, if I move or when I'm in a new town, for some reason, I attract Mormons. And I'm not. I mean, I've lived from Victoria to Beeville to here, and it just seems like I'm the one whose house they come to the most, or they're drawn to my house because my son's a healer. When I lived in Victoria, my son healed a couple of kids in the neighborhood. One of the kids had deep pain since he was like, I don't know, certain age. And my son healed him and he ran home scared because he got healed. And then a couple of days later, the Mormon kids go knock on that kid's door and he says, oh no, we're Catholic here, but you can go over there if you've never met a healer. Why he gave him my address? But they were intrigued to know that somebody could actually heal besides the 12 disciples that they believe could heal. So that's how they winded up at my door. And here they just happen to just be walking through the neighborhood, But it seems like no matter where I go, I seem to attract Mormons after Mormons after Mormons. And I sit down and I have those conversations and we have talks. And that's how I learned a lot about the Mormon book, is asking the people who study it the most.
And that's the thing. If we just be open-minded, we might learn a thing or two.
Yeah. I've gone to their church. I've gone to, I've visited their church. I'll visit. Visit doesn't mean I'm staying forever, but I study everything. And who better than to study from than somebody who practices,
Exactly. That's how you learn. Like when you stop learning, then what's the point? Right?
The day you stop learning is the day you die.
Bum bum bum.
Your brain's cracked.
But like I know, like on this channel, I don't know if this is for anybody else, but for me, like like we'll do the research and stuff, and then you learn stuff when you do the research. But then when we're sharing different, like if we have different haunted places or different history, you're also learning stuff on the channel, and it's like it's really interesting because when you go and edit, you can look back at like these little like chocolate like excuse me, you know. So it's really great.
Yes. But yeah, so now y'all know. Like, I will still go as a Wiccan because it's easier. So if I ever say it, don't be like, well, no, that's what I'm going to classify as.
No, I definitely get it because I'm such an eclectic of different things. Like, it's kind of hard to explain to certain religious people that I have all these gifts. And then it's kind of hard to explain that I'm one with the earth because I'm indigenous. And then it's also hard to explain how I heal with herbs. It's like I'm such an eclectic. It's like I can't say that I'm now I'm a lot more brave than I used to be. Now I'm like, if you want to ask me if I'm a witch, I'll say yes. But you have to understand the term of witch from the beginning if you're gonna ask me. You know, if you're gonna call me a witch because you want to hang me because I healed somebody through a soup.
Yeah, but that's such an old way of thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the only people that are going to do that is people that look at it in such a like ugly way, like they're not educated at all. And that's one thing. It took me a minute to figure that out and learn because what it was. And you're gonna laugh. I don't know if I told you this, but when I was like going through that, like, okay, so the way it happened, we're doing the show, so we're digging deep into like a lot more cultural stuff, and then I kept seeing these like messages, and they were all from Hecate. Everybody says it different, but you know who she is, Crossroads and everything. And then I would read my Bible every time I was drawn to it, and then I was in this weird, I don't know, and I was like crying all the time. It was so weird. And I was like, Karli was the one that was like, have you ever like looked into paganism? And I was like, no, that's so dark. But the more she was talking to me about it, the more I was like reading into it, and I'm still to this day researching it. I have these conversations with a couple of people, including my brother, about it, and I'm like, this actually fits my theme. The only thing that it took me a little bit to go over this little line was paganism. You're praying to more than one person or more than one God, right? So that's where it got a little weird for me, because I'm like, well, I still love Jesus. He's my homeboy.
But you still have Mother Nature in there too.
Exactly. You have Mother Nature. So when I pray, I'm like, okay. And sometimes when I write my journals, I'm like, Jesus, Mother Nature, everybody, like, I need you to hook me up with some rent. You know what I mean?
And that's
an example.
That's where we get the tree hugger. There was nothing derogatory. We just knew she likes nature. Just saying, putting that out there too.
I love being out there. I'm like, we're supposed to go. I like to go hiking, and I got to go camping soon. But yeah, you put into earth what you get. And so anyway, so the Hecate thing, she's like crossroads girl. Okay, like she's like, which way you going? And she's like queen of like witchcraft, which was really scary for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's the bad kind of witchcraft.
It's not bad.
Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't think so now, but maybe. It depends on how you look at it. And then, yeah, there you go. And then she does the dreams, and she kind of guides you through like which way, and which is actually what I needed at that time. She showed up in the perfect time, because I was like, okay, am I going to pursue Christianity altogether, or am I not? Am I just not going to be a religious? Like, I was already not religious, but that eventually, kept like 2 months later, it was like, I'm never going to church again. And it was like all that drama for that one decision, because spirit be a little dramatic, okay? Like, they're like, you need to look at this, and you have this big decision. And I was like, I couldn't sleep, for weeks. And I was like,
you ever think it was just the wrong church for you? Like, maybe there was a different church for you.
It wasn't just one wrong church. It was two wrong churches, 3 wrong churches, 4 wrong churches. I was just back to back to back. And I'm like, I'm never going to feel comfortable with it. And then even when I moved here, they're like,
practice your religion at home too.
Yeah, exactly. So I read my Bible at home.
Yeah.
I do all that at home. Like, I have to at least one day every day since I moved in this new house. I'm outside Thanks, universe. Thanks, plant. Today I was like, went to a little small tree because I saw this thing on the reels that said, this lady said, the trees talk back. Okay, I know that's a fact. Okay, I already know they breathe. Okay. Two, she was like, you could talk to this tree. And when you talk to this tree, you could say, I love you, tree. Give it love. Tell it words of affirmation. And then you say, if you love me or if you can hear me, touch my face. And the tree slowly moved its way up and then slapped her in the face. Or not slapped her, but ow. But, just kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, right, it was like a clip it. And so this lady behind her came in. She's like, what the hell? She came in there and she's like, Tree, I know we don't talk much, but I love you. Will you touch my face? and
then the leaf or something, goes to her face, right?
It like right here, and then it came. And so, of course, I put this on.
That's what they always tell you, talk to your plant.
So I go outside to the smallest little tree because my trees are way up and I'm short. Maybe I should go to the tall tree and see if they come down. But I went to the smaller tree attached to a big tree, and I was like, I love you, plant. How you doing? Like, you won't. I was like, I know we don't talk much, and I know that there's dog barking. It's a little intimidating because everybody's watching us, but this is me and you, baby. Like, me and you. Touch my face. And it was like so weird because the plant was going up. It didn't make it. I'm gonna try again tomorrow. It was, and then it was like, I was like, if you want to do this tomorrow, or I asked it like 3 questions in the video, and the third one was like, I said, do you hate me? Wave if you hate me. And it just kind of like was like lower. And then I was like, if you're trying your best, give me a wave. And then it just waved. And I'm like, oh!
For the girls sing beautifully, and then the trees and the wind and stuff, so the elements start moving. I like those too.
So we always think like maybe there's like something more, out there, which I mean, obviously you believe that, but I'm like, what if there's more like in the universe that nobody talks about? Nobody talks about it. They're like, okay, there's aliens and intelligent life, but what if it's not about that? What if it's really where we put our feet, where we put our hands?
It's all alive. We got to remember that.
And trees, I want to tell you something now that we're talking about trees. I found this out not too long ago, and I had to find out the hard way, but trees, there are also good and bad trees.
Yes.
Because my daughter, I'm going to tell you right now, my daughter Nevaeh, where her apartment is, she's like, there's 2 apartments. She's in the back one, and so you have to go on this little sidewalk, and that sidewalk has 3 trees. Now, when my grandson was already here, he was already, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. So I was teaching him how to love the elements and love trees. My tree in front of my house is a very loving tree. It just didn't have enough nourishment to grow green leaves. So I've been watering it and talking to it, and so my grandson knew my tree already. Well, when every morning I would pick him up to babysit him. There was 3 trees, and I told him, would you like to say hi to Mr. Tree? There's 3 trees, so we call them Mr. Trees, and there's 3 of them together, like kind of like 2 in front, 1 in the back. And he always touches each one leaves every morning. So no matter what, even if I'm not carrying him, he'll tell his mom, like, let me touch the trees to say hello. Well, one night my daughter called me and said that my grandson was having like a really bad fever, if I could bring him some Tylenol. At 3 o'clock in the morning, like I was like, hell yeah, it's only 2 blocks. I went to her house, and I was walking really fast, and I took my hair down because it was in a bun, and I just remember looking up, and there was a full moon. And I was like, oh, well, my son is actually born in a dragon year for the Chinese astrology, so he's a very important person to this world. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a full moon, Boogie's sick, who's in the house? Maybe somebody spiritually is got something attached to them, right? Because my daughter has friends come over sometimes. She's young. So I go in, and her roommate's sister was there, who's got so much crap attached to her. It's funny. So my boogie is around somebody supernaturally, spiritually, with wicked, like really bad black magic around her family, which is my daughter's roommate's sister. She was in the house. It was a full moon. He's caught a fever, and he's kind of fussing. So I'm like, I know his spirit. Something's wrong with his spirit. He's irritated. So then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, right? Well, I go in the house. I pass the trees. I'm like, hey guys, and I just pass the tree and I go in and I give him his medicine and I literally rock him back to bed and I put him down and I told her, rub an egg over him, clean his aura like us Mexicans do. And I was like, and then make sure that you pray over him. He's okay now. And I told her, you need to tell this girl that she needs to go home or I'm going to tell her because that's what's making him crazy and the full moon's out and her spiritual shit's messing up this house. She leaves, the girl leaves, and then I leave. On my way out, I've known these trees for almost going on a year and a half with my grandson to greet them every day and every night. And I happened to just be thinking, man, this is wild how I woke up 10 minutes before she called me. And then I look up and I saw what you would think was a gargoyle in a, but almost like halfway standing up, halfway crouching. And it had like a cloak, but I could see his feet. So I knew it was a gargoyle type of animal type of thing. And I looked, I just like, it would be like if you were 6 feet away from 3 medium-sized trees, but old trees. And then you just happen to look up and there's a gap where you always see greenery. I just happened to be like, just breathing like, I can't believe my boogie was sick. And I look up just to go to my car and I just happen to look up and I see something watching me. It's like holding on to the tree. And it's like this. And I look at him. And I see him and he sees me and I know he knows that I see him and it's him, of course. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And then I'm angry because I'm like, how dare you trees harbor this thing? And I had to find out that some trees harbor bad things. And those trees have known my grandson every day and every night, and they greet him. They literally, they will pull their leaves down so he can reach sometimes. So my son knows them on a spiritual level. And for them to know that it's a full moon, for them to harbor something so evil and so ugly that I saw, I was like, oh shit, I was taken back. That was a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
Because just because they grow and they have photosynthesis and they have spirit, I never thought that something so natural could have harbored something so evil.
They also have toxins that they can release into the air if they ever want to harm us. People got to remember that.
Yeah.
The more we harm them, they can also do it to us, but they haven't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You've heard of towns too where all their trees go bad and the toxins release, and then the whole town has to be out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they said about
have you ever seen the movie Virgin Suicide?
Virgin Suicides?
This is a true story. I'm just going to throw it up real quick. This is a true story. The girl from the very first Bring It On, the Torrance.
Oh yeah, yes.
She's one of the people in that. She's one of the girls. This is a true story about I think 6 sisters who wind up are in a town where like the trees are poisoning the toxins, and then somehow like they're homeschooled and something goes on, and it's a good movie. It's called The Virgin Suicides. I remember that. But that was where that was. I remember in her town. This is a true story. In that town, all their trees had gotten so bad that people were having to wear masks and things like that. So that's one thing I do know about the toxins in the trees, that they'll wipe out a whole town.
They will.
Wow. So that you say that about like our like I don't know, they say like don't plant anything in the thing, but I'm like, I don't know, you don't have faith like I do. You know, I don't know. I'm trying to do everything above ground.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of off topic.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Well, we are just about out of time. So y'all have a good night and stay safe, and yeah,
we will see you soon.
Yeah.
And blessed be.